You notice that people that excel rarely come from excellent circumstances in their past. Hello, I'm Clarence, I'm the preacher, and I'm here to tell you that it is not necessary to come from a perfect background to live the abundant life that Christ talked about in John 10:10. I don't care what your past is. If you want to be a great Christian, you can have the abundant life that Christ offers. So I want to talk about this idea for just a moment. I want you to think about some of our Bible heroes. There were some Bible heroes that were eager, they were enthusiastic, they were kind of like chomping at the bit to get in there and go. Think about David, if you would. He was eager to take on Goliath. However, probably more often what you have are Bible heroes who were reluctant, like Gideon, or think about Moses. Moses is at the burning bush, and the bush isn't burning. God's talking to him, and Moses starts making excuses why he is not the best man for the job. Now, if you read that text, you can read 6, maybe 7 excuses that he makes there, depending on how you break it up. Now, what I'm thinking is, wait a minute. Moses is standing there at the burning bush, obviously a miracle, the bush isn't burning, and he is talking to the all-powerful, all-knowing God, the God who he believes is perfect and never makes a mistake. This God has come down from heaven to talk to him and say, you're the man I've chosen for the job. And Moses is basically saying to God, no, I think you made a mistake. I'm not the one for the job. I don't talk well. Those people back in Egypt don't like me. Can you imagine making excuses when God is the one that tapped you for the assignment? That's crazy. Well, that's the way a lot of people are. You see, it's real easy to come up with excuses. In fact, a lot of people, all the way since Moses' day, have specialized in excuse making why they can't, why they can't, why they can't, why they can't. Instead of specializing in making excuses, like Moses did initially, what we need to do is specialize in trust. If God picked me for the job, then I can do the job. Specialize in cans instead of can'ts. Now, if you need some more Bible examples, think of the 12 apostles. I don't mean to be rude, but these guys were not the sharpest knives in the drawer. These guys were just common old laborers who Christ called off their day job and said, I've got a better assignment for you. Now, I'm thinking, if God can use some fishermen to change the world, then he can use you and me to make a difference in our own little corner of the world. I don't think that's a stretch or a leap of logic there. That's just pretty sensible. Now, if that's not working for you, then I want you to think about Balaam back in Numbers 22 and the talking donkey. And if God can work through a donkey, you get my point? Then I know he can work through me. I'd like to think I'm smarter than a donkey, and I know you are, so God can work through us. So instead of all this, oh, but my past, forget your past. It's not where you're coming from. It's where you're going. It's not who you used to hang out with. It's the fact that you're walking with God today, and that makes all the difference. And Ephesians 3:20 tells us that God can do things through us that we hadn't even begun to start thinking about or imagining yet. Now, that's pretty fantastic. Now, if you need to, go back and read Ephesians 3:20 with your own eyes, where God said, and I'm going to repeat it, he can do through us things we haven't even imagined. But it's going to be tough. It's not going to be a big, broad, cushy road. I think there are a lot of people sitting there idle on the pew doing pretty much nothing. Some of them can't even make attendance but once a month. And they're thinking, once all the obstacles are off that straight and narrow road, once God smooths that narrow road out, broadens it up a bit, then I'll start traveling the broad road instead of the straight and narrow. They want an obstacle course without obstacles. And there are a lot of people out there in the religious community who have sold exactly that idea. There are some people in the religious community that sold the idea that Christianity is supposed to be this nice, soft, cushy, easy, wonderful, just sweet way of living life. Folks, that's a lie. They didn't get that from the Bible. Sure, there's an abundant life in the Bible. I get that. Christ lived the abundant life. And look at how his life was. The apostles lived the abundant life. And yet look at how their life was. It was not that cushy, soft, sweet life. And if you need a little more information than that, go to 2 Corinthians chapter 11, start reading at verse 22, and just read about the next 10 verses there. Paul lived the abundant life. Paul had the peace that passes understanding, and yet Paul lived through some tough times. And that's what Christianity is. It's a straight and narrow road. So making excuses and waiting for the circumstances all to be perfect is a bunch of nonsense. Paul said we must enter the kingdom through many tribulations in Acts 14:22. He said you present your body a living sacrifice, which necessarily indicates some discomfort. That's Christianity. And the people who sit around waiting for it to be all sunshine and roses don't understand what Christianity really is. It is a system in which we take up our cross and follow in the footsteps of Jesus. So put your comments below. Share your ideas and your thoughts on this whole subject. Share this video with somebody else if you think it'd help motivate them along a little bit, because I believe together we can make a difference. And as always, I hope you have a great day.